Welcome back. We've got 3 matches left here for the Stage 1 finals of the QPL. I'm joined by Jackie and ZSX again. Welcome back, gentlemen. It's now time for us to jump in another lower bracket matchup, this time in round 3, and that is going to be a Battle of the Americas. It's cha1n versus dramiS.
Ooh, tasty little all-star American game there. I had the beauty of sitting on the wayside when you were covering the cha1n game earlier, and that had me feeling some things. So I feel like potentially getting both of these boys coming in, especially after what me and you saw as well down on the B stream from dramiS, this should actually be quite a tasty game. Both of them should be really coming out swinging.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's at the point where I think everyone's been waiting for that breakout run from dramiS since essentially season 1 last year, and it just hasn't really happened. Whereas cha1n has been the one to do that. So potentially this could be the upset that then sets him on his way. We'll have to see. He's definitely got it in him. And if he clicks as well as he was against Garpy, then as I said before, definitely going to cause cha1n some serious problems.
Well, let's take a look at, talk a little bit about dramiS. I've heard this from a couple different folks, right? They've been really impressed with dramiS's run so far here. He's had some solid victories, not necessarily indicative of his performance during Stage 1, certainly improved over the 13 weeks. But as we've said many times before, put all that behind you, right? It all comes down to how you perform here. You could see the first 5 weeks wasn't great, but there's no doubt that dramiS has done some damage here so far. He did take out Garpy, took out Maxter, dropping 2 folks, and I don't remember who he lost to get dropped down. Cypher, 2-0 to Cypher, right?
Yeah, and he beat Cooler as well. So he's taken out some big names, and that scoreboard doesn't look great, but I guess similar to how we said about Tox, it's not fully reflective of the story in that a lot of those 0-3s could have quite easily have gone the other way. I remember cha1n and Rafa in particular, he was putting up some good performances. It just didn't go his way. And he's someone that has quite a high risk style. So if things don't go his way, it can go badly very quickly. But that also pays huge dividends if he does hit his stride and gets the early momentum as well.
I think that's what we're going to be seeing coming out from him as well. And hopefully that's what he needs to put on parade, because it's where the best of his ability shines through, really. If he's got a rail in his hand, he can be on a fast champion and just swing round corners. With how good his rail looked earlier tonight against Garpy, I think he could pop off massively.
All right, well, let's take a look at the picks and bans, which will undoubtedly gives a little bit more intel on what's going on here. Molten Falls, Awoken, and Deep Embrace. Uh-oh.
Scale bearer wheat.
I know.
Anyway, starting on Molten, dramiS loves a Slash, and Slash is particularly strong on Molten. I'm always a little bit trepidatious when you see her going against a heavy champion, particularly Sorlag, given the stack differential and the fact that Sorlag is quick. But cha1n doesn't really play that fast style to impose himself. It will just give him that additional buffer to wear down dramiS. So I don't think it'll play out as we would expect it to in that encounter. Awoken, dramiS on the Doom, which actually doesn't really suit the way he likes to play. We saw him on the Ranger against Garpy before, and he was on fire with that champion. Still incredibly strong, but having that matchup against the Ranger is pretty even. And again, I'd like to see cha1n using that a bit more aggressively to close the gap on dramiS. And Deep Embrace, absolutely bonkers. cha1n against the Keel. We saw how good cha1n is positioning on that map, and cha1n plays into that, as well as being kind of a semi-counter to the Scale Bearer as well.
I want the 3 maps from this. I really want to see that third map. Deep Embrace would be so good, man. Scale versus cha1n. You got the yin and yang champion picks there. Plus, it's just a map both of them have had good runs on, especially just for even the bracket today, right? They've had some really great games. This could be pretty tasty, actually.
Yeah, I'd love to actually. I completely agree. Would love to see this one go all 3 maps, and we'll find out here soon enough, gentlemen. I'm going to let you take it away. Enjoy this matchup. I'll be back when you're done.
Oh, thank you, Wheat. I hope he does come back. It would be a shame to just be me and you, Dan. I wouldn't really want to spend that much time with you.
Cool. I'll just chill with Twitch chat, then you can go off and play some CS or something, because I'm going to play some Quake and I'm going to watch some Quake. I'm really excited for this. I mean, we've seen some great games today, but I think dramiS and cha1n are actually pretty evenly matched. We obviously saw cha1n get dismantled in his last match against Wenger, and I really do think dramiS can have an upset here. If he gets off early, if he plays that quick tempo, and we saw him against Garpy, he was hitting like 70% rail on Awoken. If he can click like that, I think cha1n's in for a little bit of a problem, but he has to go into this being the favourite. I'm going to give it a 2-1 to cha1n. What do you think?
The crazy bit about it is I think normally I'd always say cha1n, but with how dramiS looked earlier and the fact that genuinely I like dramiS, I think in terms of a competitor, he's really good. I think he's always had the high skill ceiling. It's just being inconsistent of when we've seen it. But this time around, you know what? Screw it, Dan. I'm going to go with dramiS. I think dramiS picks it up. I think it's going to be a 2-1. I think we get all 3 maps.
I like the confidence, Jack.
Well, I'm a changed man. I'm a new man.
You've been wrong since the first game of the finals.
Hang on. Who was the only person out of the talent team that predicted that Nosfer would win?
Yeah, the first game of the season.
And that's all that matters. Let's
Anyway,
forget
I
about
like the
everything
confidence.
else.
I can see it happening, but we have to jump in, starting over on dramiS on the slash. And like I said, he loves to play slash. He's already caught the Sorlag dropping down from above. The spit connects and a shotgun. Not as much damage as cha1n would have hoped. Still looking healthy, though, having picked up the heavy to start with.
All right. This could be a very fun map. We saw some good molten gameplay earlier on from dramiS. The rails already coming out as well. A rough exchange for both of them, but dramiS certainly worse for wear. He can skedaddle his way back over towards the Mega, as that'll be spawning in soon. Makes a good job of weaving his way through the light items on the way round as well. And a sneaking suspicion that cha1n had already got up towards the high ground. He doesn't push on it. Instead doubles back, just pre-firing out with the tri-bolt.
Caught from above and big rocket in retaliation, but the rail is there from cha1n. And the problem now for dramiS is that cha1n is a master at whittling down his opponent, and slash doesn't have a lot of stack to play with. So as much as dramiS does want to set this fast tempo, as I mentioned, I'm always a little bit scared for a slash going up against the store lag. So he needs to play more strategically.
Ooh. Yeah, no, it certainly is scary. Especially, obviously, if, the prophecy we always talk about comes true, right? If cha1n comes in like a train, just runs over dramiS, and you've got that scary prospect of him being on a heavy champion, spawning in with the advantageous stack every time. That's not a great advantage, though. The rocket doing a bit of splash damage back and knocking him further away.
Pushing the Mega, and he's already pushing aggressively. cha1n is low, sticking around. Nice rocket jump up. I love the confidence that he will be able to follow that up. Eats the spit, but that's about it. That's as clean as she was going to get. Giving the rocket jump, going into a shotgun. No, you got to be careful there.
The spawn stack plaguing him immediately.
Okay.
Ooh, hello, hang on a minute. He just goes straight back in. He's looking to just swing into this one. The issue is it doesn't work out the way dramiS really wanted it to. So 2 frags now fall in favor of cha1n here. He's got a bit of an edge. 1 second till Mega's up as well. Dives down, nice predictive rockets. You have to slowly backpedal and get away from that. Oh, the mind games from dramiS there, plaguing with cha1n. So we've got 1 second until heavy's up. He can drop down on top of it. The rail will fire across. Mega's spawning in as well. He's actually ahead of him, but look how much damage he's sustaining down. If he survives this, it'd be miraculous, and he can't. The LG catches up with him, tased by dramiS.
Tased is
the gap closing.
He read that like a book. You could see him just waiting for it to happen. He knew that cha1n was going to try and push in, and absolutely caught him blindsided. Smart play by dramiS. He's still down a frag though, but in a great position here. He's got good timing on the heavy, and there's a long split before the Mega. If he can get both these major items, he's in an ideal spot to keep the pressure up. And now look at his stack.
Backstab from cha1n. Brilliant timing as well, just as the Mega spawns in, but you wouldn't even realize he'd got it. Look how low his HP bar is. You could probably apply that statement on the dramiS as well, though, as he's in a rough spot, but he makes it count with a rocket, leaps in on top of him, pounces like a panther.
Love the confidence. I really love the confidence. He's trying to push the initiative, and now cha1n's coming in aggressively. Wants this heavy. It's a good play by cha1n. He knows how important in limiting the resources for dramiS is, because he's experienced the tempo that dramiS wants to play at if he gets these resources. So cha1n is trying to eliminate them from his grasp. Great rail there.
This is pretty sick. 6 minutes left on the clock. Both of them setting up for traps here, listening out. They've got their wits about them. The audio cue will favor dramiS. Goes in as he drops the trail behind him as well. Beautiful rocket connection time and time again. They land. He takes that dinosaur fresh out.
And he's got cha1n a little bit rattled. I was actually watching that from cha1n's POV, and he was waiting outside 10-15 seconds because he was wary, unsure of where dramiS was, and the trap was sprung over by that rail. He knows how important that weapon is to cha1n, and so just protecting it with his life. And cha1n definitely needs to find a way to steal these resources away, because dramiS is definitely not afraid of confrontation once he's got a couple of items under his belt.
Trying to gain control of the heavy here, but the swoop from dramiS has actually sent him packing. He can now slide in himself and grab that. Both of them racing their way over towards the Mega as well as it comes up. The fadeaway rails, he's connecting them. He'll get it on the drop down as well. cha1n short buffs it out, but it won't matter as the third lands. One after another, Dan. Perfect rails.
Pixel perfect rails onto the big girl. She was trying to escape, and once again, cha1n is trying desperately to take these items away, and at the minute, the Sorlag choice is not looking the best. It's not using the full capability of how she plays, and this is what I mentioned, that he won't use the Sorlag like many other players would in close combat, trying to bully his opponent. And he's losing out as dramiS is the one taking all of these items away and then just cruising in, as we see here now. It's super impressive.
Much like what we saw in the series versus Garpy from dramiS, his rails are very crisp, but his weapon prioritization is on point. He knows what he needs in every situation. He's always got the right tool out for the job. He can be a bricklayer or a plumber, depending on what needs to be done. But this time, he's going in looking a little bit more like a murderer. Wants to send him off the map, but they actually trade out. Both of them cascade down to the ground, but it won't matter as dramiS still obviously has the edge here into the series. The push back in, though. cha1n off spawn, trying to get aggressive. dramiS has to retreat.
Trading was actually pretty bad for dramiS. He's got the right weaponry to defend himself, and he's still pushing in. The aggression is actually what is keeping him very firmly in control here, and he's won himself a heavy. That was huge. cha1n also hasn't got the rail until now, so dramiS should be aware that his opponent is now a threat from range and can position accordingly.
LG coming out. Wow, and that LG is really boring a hole into the cranium of cha1n. The rocket will do even more as well to hammer home the message that dramiS is not messing about. He is popping off at the minute on Molten, and time's ticking away as well. So cha1n, if he's going to get into the groove of this game, he needs to come back soon, Daniel.
He really does, but the speed that dramiS is playing at is a challenge. cha1n wants to set up, he wants to get these angles, he wants to play a slower pace, and dramiS is just not letting that happen.
At least feeding himself back up somewhat. Has a sneaking suspicion that dramiS has gone down the stairs as well. 4 seconds till Heavy's up. He'll gob all over the place. Gets all of that phlegm up from his gizzard, and the big lizard then has to retreat as well.
No way. And cha1n is running out of ideas. We've said earlier today, if his rail's not connecting, he looks significantly weaker. And we see that right here again, 21% rail. And it's without that at his disposal, really need to see a shift in strategy. What I would have loved to have seen is he knows that dramiS wants to play fast, get in his face as well, use the Sorlag stack. We just haven't seen any of that. He is back in now with a frag with, a minute and a half to go. There's lots and lots of time for the big girl to make a comeback, and we see an uptick in the tempo by cha1n all of a sudden as well. He knows that it's big. He misses out on the heavy, but he's still on the chase. Got to be careful. Can't afford to take this damage. And that is a rail.
That's a hell of a rail as well. Beautiful placement. Great trigger discipline. Goes in for another one, but couldn't hit the follow-up. The sequels are never quite as good as the original. Here's the scary prospect. You said there was time, but it's been about 30 seconds since then, and there's now only a minute left. You would need to find 3 frags back to back to back. You'd have to chain them together. It feels like it's too tall of a task for the man. He'll get the major items, but can he actually make a mess out of dramiS? He does kill him. 2 kills, Dan, in 50 seconds.
Yep, that was a high-risk play. We know he likes to play high-risk. cha1n trying to set a trap over by the rail. Doesn't fall for it this time. Challenge for cha1n is how does he catch the slash? dramiS need just not make any silly mistakes. cha1n has all the resources. He can't afford to wait for anything else. Rocket jumping around the corner. dramiS hits the great rail there. That was critical. And cha1n is going to have to push, but he's weak. 15 seconds. I don't think it's going to happen, Jack. And dramiS will be taking map 1.
It's in the bag. Game, set, and match. dramiS. The DJ himself laying down a fat track on Molten Falls. That's a huge result. Obviously playing to his strengths as well. It's a map that he's quite proficient on, and you've given him Slash, a champion that he's always been unbelievable on. He can use the skill. He's always had great movement. And the rail's there, Dan. There was one map versus Garpy, right, where it looked a little bit shaky, where his rail wasn't hitting as much. Coming into this series, again, the rail looks crisp, and that's such a big aspect for dramiS.
He made it uncomfortable to play against him. He didn't take his foot off the pedal. He made sure he was always trying to get these major items. And for the first couple of minutes, cha1n was also making his presence felt in and around the major items and putting a strong emphasis on them. But as soon as that momentum was firmly in dramiS' favor, it's pretty much after this frag here. You got, look at the cleanest of frags here, picks up the mega, and it was just an unrelenting force from there on out. I do feel that cha1n gave us the wrong strategy with Sorlag. I would have liked to have seen him try and be a bit more confrontational and in the face. It was too rail heavy. That's the way he likes to play, and his rail wasn't connecting. And we see if his rail doesn't connect, he's not the same player that we've seen in the the previous 13 weeks.
No, it's true. It is true. And dramiS, I think it's fair to say, Dan, he's definitely not the same player we've seen throughout the previous 13 weeks of the regular season. He's been looking better and better. Definitely improved massively. There's been a strong uptake for dramiS, even just over the bracket play as well. Like some of the names, some of the legends he's taken down throughout the past 2 days, it's big. He should have a lot of confidence going into this now, as he only needs one more map. The next map, though, being Awoken. And this is interesting because obviously dramiS, he thrashed Garpy on Awoken when we had the lower bracket game previously, Dan. He absolutely popped off. It was an Athena pick for him then. This time around, he's coming out on Doomslayer. And the counter from cha1n is Ranger.
Yeah, and I think every time we've cast him in previous weeks, and we just saw it there, perfect example of speed is what makes dramiS tick. He doesn't have that with Doom. So definitely going to need to see a shift in the way he approaches this game. It's going to be played at cha1n's tempo now, which is slower. So you have to be more careful in terms of the way you position, because cha1n's angles, the way he takes rail fights is really creative. And so you have to respect that and actually play at a slower tempo. You won't be able to be as aggressive. I think if he can impose himself, he's in for a great shot, but cha1n has a lot more mobility with the Ranger.
Well, yeah, just the dire orb alone, right? The repositions he can pull off with that, closing the gap makes it so much easier. Even though you're on the Doom, the double jump, it does trivialize some of the, at least rotating around the map. But in terms of actually escaping or instigating fights like dramiS likes to, it's nowhere near as useful in terms of usability. And obviously we saw Athena being banned out for cha1n coming into this as well. So
Respect
I
ban.
mean, the read was there, yeah.
Yeah, but we did see cha1n play Ranger against Wenger on this map earlier, and it was really effective on it. It was a super close game, but he was rocket jumping around using the full skill set of the Ranger, and he had some great dire orb plays as well. So I'm expecting a more settled cha1n on this map than the previous.
Well, we're getting into it. We're here on Awoken. We've got the Ranger himself of cha1n, currently 1 map down in the series, trying to fight back in the uphill struggle. If he brings this map, we'll go to a 3rd and final map of Deep Embrace, and that will be absolutely brilliant. But it's all in the hands of cha1n now to take us there. At the minute, he's taking us straight into an early encounter, trying to do some damage with the rail, peering over the top of the ledge. Nice tri-bolt coming in, but it's a smooth 90, and he wins out on the Mega.
Yeah, and you can see now cha1n doing what he does best, playing in that cha1n area, just up top, controlling the ground, the mid ground, taking up these rail angles.
Should be both the items here in this rotation as well as he goes around, actually dropping off on the lip. It's easy enough for dramiS to grab it through the murder hole. It actually favors dramiS though in that encounter. That is a sick shot to land, pinging it straight into the lips to Drain, giving him a bit of a fat lip at this point. Surprising stuff, Dan, of actually how quick dramiS is playing this as well. We said that the speed could be an issue for him on the Doom, but the momentum's looking good. The rotations are really crisp. He's been able to pull off quite a couple of franks already. Straight to the face, though. A rocket will connect. Doesn't quite land the follow-up rail. We're 2 minutes in. We haven't had a kill just yet, but there is certainly a lot of blood all over the gaff.
Yeah, and it is dramiS that's got the upper hand in the first few engagements. Has control of the items now. There's not a split between them yet, so cha1n will be able to work his way over to the heavy. Not even going to risk peeking over on the mega. It's actually dramiS to take the initiative there. Does just about miss. But as we can see, it is more towards the way cha1n was to play this map. As I say that, the Doom comes barreling in. It's a good couple of rockets over on the stairway, but a nice retaliation from cha1n to get away.
A lot of time being wasted. Just slowly burning their way through the clock on this one. Mega back up in 2 seconds as well. He clocked him. Spotted him out going for the teleporter. Ooh, smooth rail. And he can create space once again. Oh, the follow-up's even better, though. And here we go. This is where cha1n could actually instigate himself an opening kill. If he can follow up on this, flanking round the back, knows exactly where he is. He's trapped on Banana, and the Potassium Punisher is coming in as the LG is primed, and dramiS should be going down like a sinking ship, but somehow he's still avoiding and evading. He's so low on stack, but he's making it work. This is miraculous behavior.
The moonwalk was too strong as the speed of the Berserk comes out. He's actually got cha1n a little bit trapped here. He's going to push it aggressively. Big rocket. cha1n's a little bit worse for wear. The rail does miss, otherwise he may have been able to put up some degree of pressure over on the heavy. Not a bad effort on the defense, all things considered. Oh, missing what would have been an important rail to set up before this next mega. Gonna have to play a bit more careful now.
Close towards 4 minutes. cha1n obviously with that one frag edge that could be taken away if dramiS capitalizes from this, but no! cha1n gets into the backstab and decimates him with a detonation as the rocket will take him down. 2 kills now, Dan.
2 kills indeed, and cha1n looking good. Always been bounced into the sky, but Doom cannot get up the jump pad and gonna have to retreat now.
Plays so clean. They're getting your dog going, Daniel. Let's see how this will continue. cha1n lower on stack at this point. Back over towards middle, hoovering up the other items to at least get himself a bit more to play with. dramiS, is he going to be barking up the wrong tree like Dan's dog? We'll see. Ooh, full frontal assault there. Uses the Dire Orb as well. Brilliant rocket play. dramiS, fresh out of Molten Falls, falling out of favor here on Awoken, as all of the kills are just being chained together by cha1n. 3 up at this point. We passed the 5-minute mark as well, so half the map left to go on Awoken.
Yep, and cha1n is very much dictating the tempo here, and dramiS is struggling a little bit. We can see now cha1n is settled, picking these rail angles up, pushing in when the time is right.
Oh, it's grim. It's actually grim. That's rough. He's pulled the fists out. He's gone in swinging, but he's been slain. Look at the counterplay from cha1n as well.
So
Just
nice.
reading the room so easily on the adjustments, Dan. Oh, here we go. This is the cha1n we wanted to see in this series. And this is actually a beautiful sign of what could come on Deep Embrace as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And dramiS is struggling to even touch cha1n at the moment, as he's the one rocking the map with absolute ease. He catches the teleporter, but cha1n will just retreat, make his way round towards setting up at this mega. dramiS is there early and needs to make a play quickly, but he's really making a good effort out of this one. He did catch cha1n over in the light armor room.
He gets himself off the Neggy bomb and back onto the Nutri bomb. That's one step away from a Posi bomb, Daniel, if he can at least get himself a first frag here. Under 4 minutes left, though, so time's certainly starting to pile up. The chance of that opportunity turning into a reality is certainly slim. He wants to grasp it with both hands. That's a nice 90. The rails are still crisp. And he can send himself in as well. The double jump making it far easier to catch up and close the gap. But this sprint's turning into a marathon.
He is, and he is being chased very quickly by time itself, and we're approaching 2.5 minutes to go. 5 frags in it, and we've seen how difficult it is for dramiS to even lay a glove on cha1n, let alone get 5 more frags consecutively. It is very much a large uphill challenge from now. But that's a good way to start.
I mean, he's got him low. Could finish him off here with a rocket, but Dire Orb escape, of course. Dips out, comes around the corner. Now he's being a bit cheeky himself. The confidence is back for cha1n. The contract killer wanting to make the bag on this one and secure some P if he can find the frag against dramiS. Rockets round the corner. dramiS still testing his luck. Time just burning down so fast at this point, though. 8 minutes have already gone by. So 5 frags is such a task. This could be the first,
no.
but no, it's another suicide again. Back to -1, dramiS. Oh, it's done, Dan.
It is done, Jack. And he put up a fight, but there was no way he could break the defensive cha1n. As he played this map to perfection, we see why he just loves it here. Last season it was Veil, now it's Awoken. He just manages those choke points so well and plays the rail game. Makes his opponent's life so incredibly hard when he finds his groove. And we could see last map it was under 30% rail. This map is over 50%, and what a difference it makes to the way he can play. It just fills him with confidence, puts his enemy on the back foot, and makes him tick.
Deep Embrace being the third map in this series, but dramiS is the one that looks like he needs a hug right now. This is a sad state of affairs. cha1n has slaughtered him on Awoken. With 60 seconds left to go. 8 frags down. This is in the bag. It's all tied up for cha1n, and it means the series is going to be tied up 1 apiece. Back-to-back plays coming out from cha1n here, Dan.
Yep, that was a classical game by cha1n. That's what we come to expect from him at the season, and what we see here. dramiS was definitely able to rattle him on Molten with the slash. Clearly had a game plan. I think the response in terms of strategy from cha1n wasn't there, but this time he was on point.
I think we've lucked out, though. In terms of getting a third map and it being Deep Embrace.
That's what we wanted, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, mate. Scale Bearer Eisen as well.
I mean, I'm sure Wheat is not too confident in the Scale Bearer pick, but you know, each to their own.
You know what? I would be against it, but there's been times where dramiS somehow makes it work. Like, he's normally, you know, one of your speedy boys, but hey, you can be pretty fast with a ball rush.
I mean, we can, that's a fact. That's what you spit.
It is. And that's what we like here, Dan. Hard-hitting facts and journalism. But cha1n was the one that was hard-hitting into that matchup. Shuts down Awoken, so the series is tied. It all does come down to Deep Embrace.
And the last Deep Embrace we saw was a panty fella, as Wenger just missed out on taking cha1n down, and that was a really, really good matchup. We had cha1n on the kill, though, so very different affair here. Interesting to see how dramiS plays the scale bearer. As you say, he is one of the few players to make scale bearer work as well as we can see it. So one might say a scale bearer connoisseur of the big man, but at the same time, cha1n has a lot of utility on this map, and particularly against scale bearer. And we saw here dramiS struggling in any way, shape, or form to lay a glove on cha1n, and he can definitely do that for you on Deep Embrace as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the dire roar being one of the biggest assets of his toolkit here. It was used so nicely from cha1n to get him into fights, close the gap, absolutely ruin with sudden burst damage as well onto dramiS into a lot of those encounters. And that same aspect of using utility from your champion is going to be a big talking point, as you said, when we get into the next map, right? cha1n, if you use that turret well in terms of placement, just innately on Deep Embrace anyway, it can be very effective as like an early warning system on the high ground, but up against a scale bearer, it's doubly deadly.
Yeah, for sure. It just is able just to chip away at his overbearing stack and stop the big man in his tracks instantly, so you don't get booped off the map. So, you know, all you scale bearer lovers in chat, give dramiS your power. Got to see the big man pull this one through. I think I have to side with cha1n. I think the way he controlled that last map, he can definitely do the same on Deep Embrace. But it could turn into a bloodbath. And if there is chaos caused by the bull rushing power that dramiS can bring, then it's definitely a wide open map. So it's going to be a good 10 minutes, my friend.
Yeah, no, this should actually be a pretty sick back and forth. I think this one hopefully should go down to the bitter end as well. It seems like it's one of those games. Deep Embrace, in terms of some of the games we've had as well just over the tournament today, it feels like it is basically a one frag map. Like it goes back and forth so consistently that it's given us some crazy tight affairs. We'll see. Any of the scale bearer squad in the chat start getting loud, cause some ruckus, as it's all been building up to this. It's a third and final map between these two. cha1n versus dramiS. dramiS came out swinging on Molten. The response was there, and Awoken looked far better for cha1n. At this point down, with both of them on form, this should be a very fitting end.
Should be indeed. And if it goes down to the wire, I will be a happy man.
Oh, absolutely. Well, here we are in the server, ready to kick this one off. Canada versus America, cha1n versus dramiS. We're into it, starting off on cha1n. cha1n's POV to kick us off into the last map of this series.
And he is already looking mightily beefy and has all the weapons he needs. cha1n's actually gone to a place he should not be. And dramiS says, get back in your hole.
A hobbit hole. Other brands of hole are available, of course.
And here he comes. Oh, boom!
Ooh, no!
Oh, no! He got clipped by the big man. That's not a place you want to be.
No, it's not. Taken straight up to the stratosphere and then smacked back down to reality. But whoops, here goes gravity. cha1n up the bounce as he wants to get out of there as quick as possible and create a bit of space between the both of them. As dramiS has already opened it up with one clean kill. He's got his wits about him as well. The ears are on. He's listening out. He's spotted in through the hole with the floorboards, drops on top of him, but it gets a bit messy and he goes down from the LG.
It is right before the items, though, and you can see dramiS with the pace. He plays this champion so quick. And he's back in for this heavy, and look how weak cha1n was for a few seconds. Probably could have delayed to pick up the health, but instead doesn't. Will that come back to bite him, as he could have got more efficiency out of that item?
Both establishing a killer piece here then early on. cha1n trying to play with speed as he's just leaping round the corners, taking the peaks. dramiS has the high ground. Will he be able to hold on to it? Heading his way up, near miss on the rail. cha1n looking to reply, takes one of his own, but it won't land in the back. Luckily, he grabs himself the Mega as well, so they both got major items to work with.
Yeah. You have to respect the power of the heavy champion sitting on the high ground. That's why cha1n is playing underneath, trying to work his way around him, but he hears the thundering hooves of dramiS coming in behind him. It's bounced up the old jump pad there, but misses the second rail instead. Needs to back off as cha1n jumps his turret through the hole there. Oh, boop!
Oh, mate. Holding on by a thread. Look how low both of them are. How are neither of them dead? Oh, dramiS!
No!
He rocks up to the party. And he has brought some champagne. Pops the top off and the cork sends him flying. The railgun wanting to do some more as well. Primed and ready. But cha1n doesn't re-peek. He's already given away one frag. He doesn't want to top a second, but he grabs it. Comes in out of nowhere. It's cha1n's music as he's back in action.
Greedy Warlord took the jump of doom and he didn't even get the heavy. He just danced around it.
Look at him. He is giving it. cha1n off the chain right now. This man's wilding out. 3 minutes in, 3-2 split. Some crazy kills. And so much more to be done. We wanted to see Deep Embrace. We wanted this third map because we said it should be sickening. And it is. The way it's being played right now is a delicacy. He gets the mega. Rotates back around. We've got 4 seconds till heavy's up. And cha1n, he's in position, looking for the next opportunity to strike. So much damage done with the lightning. The rocket's even better, but he's taking as many blows as he's giving out. Both of them in a really rough spot here. They're fragile, Dan.
They're fragile. cha1n in a slightly better position to set up for this mega. dramiS will work his way around to the high ground. Will he make the jump of doom again? cha1n is waiting, goading him to make it. But this time, the big man has learnt his lesson and will just rain down pain from above until it's safe to make that move out of rockets. And now we're going to meet here in the corridor. Big rocket, but the rail from cha1n is good. dramiS forced to retreat, but he will make the move, and cha1n got a little bit greedy himself, and he will get melted. Team in the turret tries to fight for its master, but doesn't do enough.
Scraps the automaton. Like something out of I Am Legend, or potentially the other Will Smith movie, but he's going straight in. Oh, he tries to make that one quite cinematic as cha1n up by a single frag once again with the rocket.
You know the big man's coming because he got you low!
Look at him! He pulls out the shotgun, he puts the barrel in your mouth. Say goodbye, as cha1n is gone. dramiS kicking off right now. He is causing a storm on the server. We're not even at the 5-minute mark, and it is just consistent swings between both of them. It's like a deathly waltz.
I could imagine me and cha1n right there. You know what's coming, the inevitable. Oh shit, it's coming! But you can't do anything.
Oh, it's like being on a roller coaster, Dan. You're getting closer and closer towards the drop, and you can just feel the anticipation. The anticipation is certainly starting to find its way, hopefully across all the Twitch chat at this point, because this game is carnage. 4-4, 5 minutes in. We're halfway through this spectacular third and final map. A very important series on the line here for the North American side of things. dramiS getting low. Oh, the face is disgusting. The furiosity on that one is big. cha1n, he's got an edge again.
cha1n is trying to be a bit of a party pooper here, giving structure to this game of chaos. He's now got himself a nice little stack, and he's setting up on the high ground, trying to play this railgun. You see him just rocket jumping away. He did not want anything to do with that shenanigans. Nice little play by dramiS coming up the jump pad with the shotgun, but yes, we can see now cha1n just wants to take control of this, put a bit of tempo and structure to the game, and that's exactly what he's doing. And so it has settled down for now.
Four minutes left. cha1n really is starting to transition into a bit of a pain train. dramiS, he can't slow him down. He's got to get ahead. He's got to do something different here, Dan.
He needs an item. He needs to delay a pickup. He's working his way over to this mega. He should be able to get it. That's a good rail. That's a good use of the bull rush to get out of there as well. And he wants to make a move. There's still a little bit of time. If he rocket jumped up, he might be able to get it. Plays it a bit safer. There is plenty of time left. He knows how low cha1n is. The question is, can he get him? And if he does, oh no, that's not the weapon choice. cha1n is sticking around. He's low, but so is dramiS, and he gets the vertical rail.
Oh, the hurty-verty. Jesus, I bet Zoot felt that one in his loins. He's just wrecking him. He's going for more as well. Face off the face. The rockets pull back out as cha1n. He's up, and he does not want to lose this lead. Still trying to get himself another frag and be up by 4. We're 7 minutes deep. This is getting tense. No! Oh, he holds on by a thread, Dan.
Could have been sure he was going to fall off the map there. Still plenty of time for a comeback here. There's only 3 frags in it. We have seen some crazy, crazy things. Got him, could bounce him. Good rocket combo. The turrets there doing so much work. What a position by cha1n. And dramiS misses the rail.
4-frag lead. And it's been a hell of a map so far, but dramiS coming straight back in, knocking on the door of cha1n. And he's not going to wait for an answer. He kicks the door in. The human crowbar now, potentially cracking this map wide open. There is enough time. There's definitely a possibility that he could bring this back, but he's got to chain them together. Straight in with a railgun. Beautiful connection on the follow-up.
Nice.
There's the third. Back-to-back-to-back rails.
And look at the big man now. Momentum is with him. He's got the items. It's a good split between the two. He can reserve himself without taking damage and take both of these items. cha1n is in a lot of problems here. He's got himself the weaponry he needs to defend himself. No lightning gun yet. But dramiS, he leaves up the Mega, and that is a huge lifeline for cha1n.
The Intergalactic Warlord halted in his quest by a single rocket, but he's got rockets of his own, and they are doing so much damage. Issue is, look how low he is. cha1n with the LG wraps his way around him, slices him in half.
He's still coming at ya.
Time it doesn't work as well though off the back of the spawn down. Not an instant refrag. And the rail being pulled out means that this should probably be a follow-up death, especially with the assist coming in from Tiny Timmy in the background. 10-6, a minute left for 4 kills.
Yeah, and it feels like it's slipping away from dramiS now as he made a few timing mistakes. The big one was missing out on the Mega, which could have led into a heavy pickup as well. That lifeline for cha1n meant that he could stay aggressive and keep his defensive positioning strong. Oh, and he messes up the bull rush. No, it's still there, but the turret, as you see, just blocks his way. But the true matador Canadian he is. And that will be that, Jack. After such an entertaining series, it will be cha1n that moves on, and dramiS stays at home.
He does stay at home, Dan. Wow, what a series though. What a back and forth. Deep embrace. Slowly solidifying itself more and more as one of the most entertaining maps of Quake to watch in terms of just all-out onslaughts, especially between these two. This is a game to remember from the finals.
I haven't seen a single bad matchup on this particular map so far. Every single game brings us some level of entertainment, and these two didn't let us down.
No, that was sick. They both lived up to the hype. Obviously, both of them turning up massively when they needed to. That was a crazy close back and forth for so long. dramiS pumping everything into that one, but cha1n overcomes in the end, does pick up the 2-1 victory and moves on, Dan.
Yeah, Scale Squad tried their hardest. The power was there, but there was a bit of lack of strategy towards the end game as dramiS let that map slip through his fingers. He got too wrapped up in the chaos, whereas cha1n did what he needed to do. He was able to stamp his authority and just control the madness for all of 2 minutes, but that's what he needed to do. So full credit to him. He fully deserves to move on.
I suppose what we need to do is bring back on the chairman of the cha1n gang as DJ Wheat's joining us.
Big smirk on his face. Oh.
Well, gentlemen. Just gonna, I hate to say I told you so, but I love it.
I hate this. I hate this so much.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I have run the data. All right. The data says stop picking scale bearer. I think it's a false confidence, man. I don't know what it is.
Oh, the wheat 5 head right here. But oh man, it was come on.
It was a hell of a good match, though. No, seriously, all three. That was definitely a treat. Don't let my smart ass comments here take away from both of these players. dramiS with some excellent play, and you guys get to see a lot of his games that I didn't get a chance to watch here. I tried to tune into a few of them over on the other one, and you're right. Like he was playing top notch, and that was the cha1n. I think like we saw in a couple of those maps that we were sort of expecting to see earlier and hoping it would come out against some of the players that he was up against, like Wenger and whatnot. And cha1n stays alive, and dramiS, I hope he'll stay on that train and bring some good performance here as we go into the next stage of the QPL.
Yeah, I think if dramiS can find a way to find a gear that isn't 5th, he will become a much more refined player. I think there's just some elements of when there's a time to reflect on the game and take the foot off the pace just a little bit. And he's not doing that just yet. You know, the famous quote of when to be aggressive and when not to be. That's the stage he's at. Like, he's incredible when he's in control and he's the one setting the tempo. We saw Slash, we saw Scale, but as soon as it begins to slip away, we see the cracks in the armor, missing items here and there. You know, they're taking up a bit too risky positions. If he can then round those edges, that's when he begins to become, you know, top tier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So great games here in the lower bracket, and we've got a few more that are going to be coming up here in just a moment. I think we are going to get an opportunity to talk with cha1n in just a moment, and would love to get some questions in with him. Let's. It sounds like we can bring cha1n in right now. Let's do it. cha1n, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Good games. Congratulations. Moving on. I believe you're going to be. Will you be play bass next? Is that what's right. going to happen? Yeah. Awesome. Let's talk about. You had such a great performance in the 13 weeks of stage one. I know that left for a lot of aspirations to, do as well as you could here for the stage one finals. Did get dropped down, after a close game with Wenger that went 2-1. But how are you feeling so far about your performance here at the stage one finals?
Feeling pretty good. I played really good against CNZ my first match. And then against Wenger, I actually played pretty well. Like, Wenger is always a really tough opponent for me just because of how he is as a player. I was really able to stay calm in my games with Wenger, which helped me win the second map, like clutch it out. The third one was just kind of like it just went as bad as it possibly could, and he hit some like really crucial like corner pixel shots in the beginning, and then like it's just hard to come back from that. And like he had good momentum. So, and then against dramiS just now, I'd like to congratulate him. By the way, dramiS, I think this is his best international result, and I know he hasn't had the easiest time in the past few months. So I just hope he's not too upset and he beat some really good players. And just congrats to him as well for getting as far as he did. So
definitely.
What have you been focusing on coming into this tournament? Because I know we spoke to you before and there were some things in your game you weren't entirely happy with. Is there anything you've been particularly looking to improve to take you to the next level?
Well, I don't know exactly. Like, for example, today against Wenger, I wasn't timing very well at all. Even though it didn't seem to be too crucial, just how the game played out. I kind of knew that going against dramiS just now, also I needed to kind of tighten up my timing. But in general, just kind of keep practicing, keep doing what I'm doing, like keep fixing little mistakes and find stuff to exploit in the game that's there, like push to the limit. I guess that's basically what you have to do. I think like all the top players, like it's just whoever's able to kind of play the most perfect and push the game to the limit, I'd say is going to win.
I did want to ask as well, just about Deep Embrace, obviously from that series, just in terms of your perspective, cha1n, because obviously watching it, we were having a whale of a time, but it was so chaotic from a spectator standpoint. In terms of playing it, how did you possibly actually, keep control of the game? It looked like it was just utter carnage.
I don't know. Like I was never like too stressed while playing. Like I was just kind of playing like how I normally play. And I actually liked the pace of the game, and I didn't feel really pressure at all that game, to be honest. Like I felt pressure when I needed in the end to make the kill, but he like kind of messed up. Other than that, though, it was like a very easygoing game, in my opinion. Like I know it was very confrontational and big kind of moments, but it's what happens sometimes.
Well, just on that and something from that, and I want your honest opinion here. What do you think of Scalebearer?
I don't like playing against Scalebearer. Like he's just, I don't like playing as him or against him. I don't know what it is. He's like, I heard you guys arguing a bit, so I don't want to pick sides here. I don't want to pick sides, but yeah.
So he's an S tier pick. That's what I take from that comment. Cool.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, cha1n, get some rest. I know you've got another matchup coming up here in just a moment. Good luck in your matchup versus base, and congratulations on your victory here. And we're excited to see you play in your next matchup. So thanks again, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, take care. That means we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, sorry, that's too funny. I wanted to just step in and be like, cha1n, I got this one. Yeah, this wasn't going to be a problem because my opponent chose Scale Bear. It's all good. So I love it. Staying neutral, humble guy. We're going to take a break. When we come back, another big lower bracket, this time moving into round 4. Tournament life on the line for Dahang and Cypher. Who's going to take that? We're going to find out when we return after this short commercial break. Keep it locked. We'll be right back.